Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. This time out, a new virtual analog synth from Roland that also allows some unique interaction with plugins on the computer and moving those plugins to the hardware. The keyboard in front of me is the Roland System-1. Now this is part of the ERA group of synthesizers and drum machines, and it allows some very unique interaction between plugins running on the computer and what's going on inside the hardware. When you purchase the System-1, it comes with a System-1 synthesizer inside. That's what you were hearing during the introduction. It's a full-featured synthesizer, has onboard effects, we've got an onboard arpeggiator, we've got scatter effects, all kinds of synthesis control here, 8 different sounds on board. So it's a full-featured digital synthesizer that offers great sounds. But beyond the fact that this is a great-sounding virtual analog synthesizer, it offers a unique option as well, and that's the plug-out option. Now the way this works is there are 2 aspects to it. Roland is coming out with a new set of plugins. Here we've got running the SH2 that's running inside GarageBand here on my MacBook. There's also the SH101 that was released earlier. You get that free when you purchase the System-1. Now the plugin runs inside your DAW. You can use it just like you would any other plugin that might be running there. You can control it completely using the System-1 hardware. So when you're running the plugin, you can set this up so the System-1 is basically a control surface for all the different parameters that work inside the SH2 in this example. But the cool thing is that in most cases, when you're running a plug-in virtual synthesizer, you have to take your computer with you if you're going to a gig. It's the only way to get those sounds with you on stage. But with the Roland technology, we can hit this plug-out button here inside the plug-in. That automatically moves the entire plug-in over inside the System-1 hardware, and now we can pick up the System-1 hardware. It has that virtual synth loaded inside it. We no longer need the computer, but we have access to all the sound and all the synthesis power from right here inside the System-1. So let me show you how this works. The SH2 was an analog synthesizer. It came out in 1979. It was prominently featured in songs by Duran Duran, Eurythmics, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. Lots of 80s groups were using this, particularly for bass sounds. So let's check out some of what it can do. Now what you're hearing there is the plug-in creating sound inside the computer. We're using the System-1 as a control surface for that. As far as the controls go, the way they're laid out here inside the plug-in exactly matches what's going on the face of the System-1. If you prefer to look at them the way the vintage synth would have looked, we can click here and choose this SH2 layout, and now this is the way the vintage synthesizer controls laid out. We still have access to all those controls from the System-1, but it looks like the vintage unit. Now I'm going to go back to the System-1 settings here. And at this point, anytime we move a control on the System-1, we're moving a corresponding control inside the plug-in. So we can change the filter cutoff. Any of the parameters that we might move the buttons for here on the System-1 make corresponding changes over here inside the SH2. I should also mention one other thing, and that's that the System-1 is actually serving as our audio interface in this case. I've got it hooked up to the computer by USB, so the audio from GarageBand and the plug-in coming out through USB into the System-1, out of the System-1's audio outputs, and then into my monitors. Let's check out some of the SH2 sounds. Now, another interesting thing about the interaction between the System-1 and the SH2 plugin is we have an arpeggiator here inside the SH2. We can turn that on. But we can also use the arpeggiator that's built into the System-1. So if we turn that on over here, we play a note, we can adjust the tempo. So the interaction and the integration between the System-1 hardware and the plug-in is totally complete. Now, there are tons of great sounds inside the SH2 plug-in. You can create your own sounds as well, so you can make user banks of sounds that you can load up. But where this really becomes powerful is, again, using that plug-out technology. So if we now hit the button here that says plug out, it'll ask us if we're ready. We'll click OK. The data is sent over to our System-1. You can see the plug out button is flashing here right on the System-1. It takes a second for it to be sent over. Now once the plug-out transfer is completed, that plug-in has basically been moved from inside GarageBand or whatever your DAW might be, over USB into the actual System-1 hardware. So we can now disconnect the computer. I'll just unplug the USB cable. And we're running the System-1 standalone at this point. But that sound you're hearing is coming from that virtual analog modeled version of the SH2 that's been loaded in as a plug-out. We can switch back to the System-1. Over to the plug-out. And of course we can edit those sounds. We can use all the controls that are on the front panel to tailor them exactly to what we want to hear. We have the arpeggiator available to us, the scatter effect. So everything the System-1 that can do can now be applied to that plug-out synthesizer that's running inside. So the great thing about this is with the System-1 you really have an open-ended synthesizer. First of all, you can use it with your plugins running inside your computer. But perhaps more importantly, it's a standalone synthesizer with that System-1 running inside it, and you can load in whatever plug-outs you want. The first plug-out to come out was the SH101, which was an analog synthesizer that came out in the early 80s, and that comes as a free download when you purchase a System-1. And now they've begun releasing optional plug-outs as well. The SH2 is the first of those, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more in the future. So the way this works is, when you purchase a System-1, you get a discount on purchasing the optional plug-outs like the SH2 that we're showing here. And when other plug-outs become available, you get a discount on those too. But you can purchase that SH2 as a standalone plug-in just by itself, and it works in any AU or VST3 host. So if you're looking for an open-ended synthesis system that really sounds great, it nails that virtual analog tone, both with the System-1, with the SH101, and with that SH2, you're really getting authentic sounds out of this. And then you have all that open-ended capability of being able to interact with your computer, take it live on stage, you've got plug-ins, you've got plug-outs, really a versatile system that offers you a lot of synthesis capability. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute. I'm Mitch Gallagher.